You already know you didn't come here to live a mediocre life in existence. You didn't come here to have half-lived dreams on your heart that never come into fruition. You are not here to diminish your truth and hide your power. And something is stirring in you right now. And this is because you are being called, you're part of a collective that is being called to rise into your power. So, what is a mediocre existence? What is a mediocre life? Well, let's just name it. A mediocre life, in the way that I'm referring to it as, is a life that is rooted in obligation, force, or fear. Any place that you are creating your reality from obligation, force, or fear, you are living from mediocrity. You are not truly tapped into your authentic expression. I don't care what the external world is reflecting back. I don't care when you look at somebody else and you're wondering, like, God, why am I behind? Because this is a very common thing. This is key to understand. As a new earth leader, you will look at other people and what they are, let's say, achieving in the world or success that you feel that they've accumulated in somehow, and you will wonder why you feel so behind. You are being calibrated into alignment with divine truth, divine authenticity, alignment with your soul and what you're being called to create. What other people are creating from denser frequencies may at first appear to work, right? And you may look at it and be like, am I going crazy? Like, maybe I'm just crazy. And the good news is you are crazy in the best way because you are not attaching yourself to external success. This is a soul guided timeline and blueprint that you're on. You are being guided to go inward and come into sync and alignment with the divine truth of who you truly are so that you can create from your embodied divinity, from high frequency. And when you begin to click into alignment, once you've done the alchemical work and you've really, you know, shifted inwardly and you're beginning to embody your divinity and you click into alignment because you are no longer making decisions rooted in obligation, force, or fear, you will catapult forward. Because the frequency of what you're creating will far surpass anything that you see outside of yourself right now that you are comparing yourself to. You cannot compare yourself to others. That's one thing that's coming through. You are a leader of a new paradigm that has never existed on planet Earth before. You are part of a collective awakening and you are at the forefront of this. So, how could you possibly compare yourself to other people that are going through their own 3D experience and then try to make sense about what that means with you, right? Like that doesn't even make any sense. And that is the ego trying to compartmentalize and figure things out and compare. The ego loves to compare. And the ego loves to seek outside of itself and then try to figure out how you, quote unquote, you can go achieve some form of external success. That is not the game you are playing. And that is not saying that external success does not come. You will receive, whoever's listening to this, you are moving into an era, you are moving into a whole new timeline of abundance and prosperity and flow and freedom and ease and being paid for your authentic expression. And divine prosperity is part of that puzzle, and so is divine union. You are going to be blessed in ways that you never even thought possible. And this is the knowing that you have within you, or this wouldn't be resonating. You probably would have already clicked off, but there's a knowing within you that you are meant for more and that you are meant to live a life beyond your wildest dreams and an extraordinary life, not a life of logic, not a life that makes sense. That's why you've always been the outsider, right? If you wanted a life that makes sense, you would be following all of the other things that everybody else does in society in order to stack up their accolades so that they can feel successful. And you have not been doing that. You have been a lone wolf. You have been flying solo, you have been breaking the mold of societal norms and expectations your whole life because you are a way shower, because you are a new paradigm leader, because you are a divine disruptor. And right now, it is stirring within you because it is time. This is not an accident. The call is now to step into your authentic truth and lead from your frequency and your divine feminine flow and your embodied divinity. So that means you can no longer make decisions from obligation, force, or fear, which will lead to a very mediocre experience. And I don't care what you see out happening outside of yourself in other people and some kind of like material success in any way, and you're trying to make that mean something. There is zero connection between what someone else is achieving and what is meant for you. And this is important to point out that it doesn't matter if someone has stacked millions. I don't care what car they drive. I don't care what you're looking at as a measuring stick for you to try to determine whether or not you're crazy or on the right path or not. Like all of those uh, measurable forms of success that society has deemed successful does not mean that they are operating from wholeness and completeness and inner fulfillment. And in many times, that is not the case. That's not the path you came to live. You are living your life from the inside out. You're doing everything completely backwards. This is backwards from everything you've ever learned about what it means to be successful, achieving and acquiring things and blah blah blah, like the whole rat race, the whole hamster and wheel hustle culture. Like you are breaking that paradigm. That is not what your soul came here to experience. I was just talking with a woman the other day, and her whole personal brand is to help 8 and 9 figure earners actually enjoy their wealth. Because at the end of the day, after they've checked off a lot of boxes and they've accumulated more wealth than what most people can do with in their lifetime, they are unhappy, they are unhealthy, and they have distorted relationships at best because they have built a life on falsehood and untruths from obligation, force, or fear. Obligation, force, or fear. That is not your path. Your path is to be the most divinely authentic expression of you and then magnetize in the abundance and the prosperity and the opportunities and the collaborations and the divine counterpart that is rooted in truth beyond what this world deems successful. This blows the mind of what anybody else in the old paradigm even comprehends, especially when it comes to relationships and what it really truly means to be in a divine union. This is not obviously a cookie cutter path. It's you're leading a paradigm. And so the question then is, well, Sarah, how do I not create a life of mediocrity that is rooted in obligation, force, or fear? And the answer is very simple. You stop identifying and thinking and being and acting from the identity that is making decisions from obligation, force, or fear. It all starts with you. You are the source of this shift, this timeline. You cannot bypass your conscious choice to come home to yourself and start making self-honoring decisions. You cannot afford to continue to defend your limitations, whether that comes in relationships or financials or your living situation or your career situation or whatever it is. You cannot be perpetuating the story of lack, scarcity, or fear, or living in the timeline anymore as the person that chooses from obligation, force, or fear. If you continue to choose from obligation, force, or fear, you will have a mediocre experience at best. And I would say if you're listening to this and it's because you're on a soul timeline and blueprint that is not going to allow that. So you will not be able to even reach the external fulfillment that other people reach when they are making decisions from obligation, force, or fear, because you will see many other people doing that and having a lot of what society deems as quote unquote success. You won't even achieve that. You won't even be able to sell yourself short and actually be successful. You are on a very sacred path. You came here and said, I'm going to come and I'm going to go through all of the alchemy and everything that, has been handcuffs or chains bogging you down for lifetimes and your ancestors, and you are going to clear that karma and you are going to rise from the ashes, fully embodied in your divinity, and create from your divine, creative, feminine flow. No excuses, no needing of permission, no looking outside of yourself for proof. You are going to own your mother effing divine genius, your magic, your sacred feminine frequency, and you are going to lead. That's what you came here to do. And as you step into that and you show up and lead, you begin to magnetize in everything that is meant for you and not before. And if you continue to reach outside of yourself for some form of external success, or you try to create your reality from obligation, force, or fear, you will be met with tower moment after tower moment, blocked, closed doors, all the things, because your soul came here to rise into your authentic divine expression, fully anchored and embodied in your divinity, which means this is your ascension journey. And if you treat this as anything else other than your ascension journey, you will be sorely met with whatever needs to meet you in the 3D world in order to reflect back to you. It's not like anybody's testing you, and you're not you're not a victim of this. You chose this, and the world is simply reflecting back to you what you are conscious of being. And so this is such an interesting dynamic, because you can ask yourself, okay, well, why is so and so able to go out and earn or succeed at X, Y, or Z? Why does it, but then you can't? This is why you can't. You were never meant to be successful from egoic means. You were never meant to be successful from the matrix structures. You were never meant to thrive in a structure that is crumbling. You were never meant to thrive. You're here to lead a whole new paradigm. So it is impossible for you. If you are listening to this, you are a soul, you are a starseed, you are a light leader. You incarnated in this lifetime to lead a new paradigm that is rooted in truth and authenticity and unconditional love and compassion and abundance and prosperity. You cannot lead from the fear-driven mind. You cannot lead from the small separate self that feels unworthy and then has to make decisions based on obligation or force because you're over efforting, right? Or you're trying to over prove your worth or whatever. Again, the three keywords that were coming in, that popped in, that were the divine inspiration for this transmission, is obligation, force, and fear. So as a takeaway, if this is resonating with you, this is where the rubber hits the road. It's time to get serious with yourself, because you're no longer able to lie to yourself and you're no longer able to hide. And the divine, the life force intelligence that you are one with, that knows exactly why you're here and what you came for, is not going to let you hide, and is going to continue to slap you in the face with a reality check of where you are creating from. So you're going to have to own it. The only way through this is through this. You're not going to be able to bypass your calling. You're not going to be able to bypass your mission. If you even postpone this for another cycle, yes, you will learn, grow, evolve, and alchemize things. And you will just circle back to the same thing again, facing your shame, facing your unworthiness, your fear of being abandoned, your fear of being seen, your fear of being visible, fear of your own power. You're just going to circle back and cycle through it again only on a deeper level, and shit's not going to work out for you the way that you would hope in the meantime, because it can't, because that's not the timeline you are on. You are shifting into a whole new paradigm. So the quicker you get on board with this being your ascension journey and stop making decisions based in the dualistic mind that is rooted in fear and separation consciousness, and you start to embody the truth of who you are and lead like the mother effing goddess that you are, the sooner you can get on with living the life that you came here to live, which is like I say all the time, a living, walking, talking, breathing example of divine, fully embodied. That's what you came here to be an example of. You are a way shower. You are a leader if you're listening to this. And there are different quote unquote phases of this journey, whether you're just being triggered on this journey and you are really like life has ripped off all of your abandonment wounds and has really brought you to your knees, and you're really going through the deep dark night of the soul and trying to make sense of things. That's a phase of the journey. And then the inner alchemy and fully starting to recognize your divinity, but then being able to anchor that and embody that on a deeper level. And then eventually you hit kind of the stage or phase, for lack of a better word, that you are in right now. Likely, if you are still resonating with this, and this is who this video is inspired to be for, you are in the in-between stage. You are in the void. You are in what I call no man's land. I've used this analogy quite a bit. You have left the shore of the old earth timeline, the old matrix way of living and being. That's why nothing is working out for you anymore. And you can't cling to the old structures. You can't, even if you wanted to, because your soul just resists it. Like there's like an inner resistance to it. Like you can't go cling to the old jobs and the old ways of earning or the old relationships or the old patterns that you were in. Like you've left that timeline. You've left that paradigm. You've left that frequency that was vibrating at a different frequency. You can't cling on to it. It's a sinking ship for you. And so you are at sea right now. You have left the shore of the old earth, old paradigm, matrix sea way of living and being and existing, and you are at sea, but yet you have not reached the shore of your new timeline yet. You have not fully anchored into the 5D frequency. You have not fully anchored into new earth frequency yet, but you can feel it. You know it's there. You can feel what's possible for you. You can feel the big shifts. You can feel it. It might even be causing you anxiety. It'll be triggering, even not, I guess triggering is a good word, but maybe not, to your nervous system, because you will be receiving light codes as this is happening, and your nervous system needs to continuously recalibrate in order to hold the higher frequency. But you haven't quite reached the shore yet. And the reason you haven't quite reached the shore yet is because you keep going back to the old identity out of fear. You keep clinging to what's already dead out of fear. The part of you that's dying, the part of you that you've let go, the part of you that self-abandons, the part of you that chooses from force, obligation, or fear. Every time you go back to that old identity that chooses from force, obligation, or fear, you pull yourself back into that timeline. And so you're dancing two different worlds. You're in between worlds. You're in between timelines. You're in between resonant frequencies, right? You're not there anymore, but you're also not fully anchored in the 5D in new earth consciousness, right? So you're in this no man's land, and shit doesn't make sense in no man's land, because you can't cling to anything that you're used to clinging to. You can't cling to the old relationships. You can't cling to the old jobs. You can't cling to the old way of earning that depleted your soul and sucked you dry with your energy. You can't cling to anything. Anything that you were attached to, the universe will strip from you, because you cannot live based off of external attachment to things in order to feel validated, safe, secure, lovable. Your source, your supply, this is key, comes from the divine. You think you get paid from your job. You think you get paid from your clients. You think you get paid from the work that you do. You get paid from the divine. God is your employer moving forward, and everything comes through whatever vehicle it comes through, whether it's your employer or job or a coaching program or whatever, but it comes directly from source. When you realize that God is your supply, things begin to shift on this journey because you see how everything is a vehicle. Everything is a vehicle for you. So things don't make sense in this no man's land. It's confusing. It's meant to be confusing because it's fucking with your mind that you've been so conditioned to identify with, that needs a logical, linear path with very predetermined signposts, milestones, and goals that you can cling to. That gets stripped away as well. The certainty that anything you're going to do is going to work out, that gets stripped away as well. You will only gain clarity on this journey as you courageously walk the unknown. You move into the unknown and you begin to trust the unseen world more than you trust what you see with your naked eye. And this is key because this is bringing you back to the source of creation, the unseen realm, the consciousness of being that you are, that then creates the reality. You can't keep looking outside at your reality and using that as your measuring stick. The world that you see is a mirror reflecting back to you what you were conscious of being. So you can't look outside there for anything. You can't look at anybody else for anything. You most likely don't even have a friend or a family member that understands what the F you're going through. None of it makes sense. And half the time you feel like you're going effing crazy when you were in this no man's land. And so the best thing that you can do is begin to cultivate an unwavering trust in self. This is key. And when I say trust in self, that's trust in the divine, because you and the divine are one. You have to be able to start to cultivate an unwavering trust in self and the unseen, because nothing's going to make sense and there's nothing you can cling to. And you're not going to be able to plan everything 5 moves ahead like you used to do back in the old world. You're not going to be able to move through, logical, linear steps in order to achieve some kind of external outcome. This is why you're not going to resonate with a lot of people that are still teaching or coaching on old world matrix ways of growing a business, of of messaging, and sharing your message with the world. This is a lot of what I specialize in, is obviously helping leaders move into sharing their soul signal and broadcasting their soul signal so that they can become magnetic to whoever's meant to receive their sacred medicine. And this is one thing a lot of my clients always said, and they would see no success in other programs that taught very logical, linear, matrixy ways of doing business. This is why I call it, business beyond the matrix, 5D business beyond the matrix. It's rooted in frequency. It's rooted in embodiment. It's not rooted in all of the linear logical steps and strategy. And that does not throw strategy out the window. There is still a necessary masculine structure that is needed for your mission, right? Masculine structure is there to provide support. It's there to provide groundedness and rootedness so that the feminine can flow and create and be in the divine flow, right? And so you will still experience things like podcasts or marketing or ads or whatever it is. You will still be guided to masculine structure, but you will not be able to lead and grow your business from that way. So it's really about, this dropped in the other day, which I might do a whole immersion about scaling from soul, because you're not going to be able to scale the same way. You're not going to be able to look, good example, you're not going to be able to look at the external metrics and try to get those to make sense and be reactive, looking at external metrics and allow that to dictate what you do, how you create, how, you know, and all of those things. It's the inside out. You're doing it in everything in reverse on this journey. Everything is backwards from what you have learned to be true up to this point about yourself, about reality, about the way things work, about how to grow a business. All the things are reverse. All the things are reverse. And it's a very small percentage of people out there that are going to get what you're going through because you are on the tipping point of a new paradigm and you are the leader. So it only makes sense that you're not going to run into a lot of other people right now that understand it. You will, as you begin to fully embody your divinity, you will call in your soul tribe that gets it, where you don't have to explain, like they understand. That's a phase of this journey as well, but you need to be magnetic to that and go through your own rebirth first, because you're only going to be able to call in the aligned collaborations, partnerships, divine counterparts, and all of that when you are fully operating from your full authentic divine expression. So you have to be a frequency match for it. So this circles back to, you need to treat this like your ascension journey. And you need to toss everything out the window that you've learned so far about life and the way to exist within it, because you're playing a whole new game now. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, you know, if you're playing like an arcade game or like a video game or something like that, there's a whole set of rules and all the things, and you really mastered that. And you even were probably very successful in that in the old world ways, in the matrixy ways. You knew how to play the game, you knew how to manifest, you knew how to create, you knew how to do things and get your way. You knew how to put just enough effort in, or maybe a lot of effort in, but you knew how to get results. You were driven, you were motivated, and you were externally probably chasing a lot of carrots, but you could get shit done and you could be successful and you could carve out a lot for yourself in that old world. That was the old video game that you were playing. And now you have a whole new game with a whole new set of rules and a whole new framework. It's a whole new way of existing, being, and creating. And so you have to unlearn everything that you believe to be true about yourself and about reality, about life, and about creation, all of it. So you're getting me straight from the gym again. Apparently, this is where you're gonna get me very sweaty straight from the gym, because this is when a lot of things drop in at the gym, and then on the way back from the gym, I receive a lot of downloads. So I'm committed to sharing them in the moment as much as possible if I can. And so this is what was coming through for you today if you are resonating with this. So that being said, if you want support on your journey, there are many different ways that we can work together if you're looking for that. There is a membership, which is a very um, low entry point, so it's accessible to everyone, which is an amazing value. And then there's also, if you're at that in between stage and you know you're being called to move into sacred leadership, and you're ready to activate the sacred feminine and new earth codes within you, and you need a high frequency container to hold you accountable to your shit so that you can alchemize that. We're not fixing, we're not healing. That's over. You've done the healing work. This is how you know you're a good fit for this. You've done the healing work. You've done the healing work. We are alchemizing. Alchemizing means we're going to take that thing, whatever it is, that's keeping you stuck from shining your light and being fully authentic and embodying your magic, and we are going to alchemize it and turn it into gold. That is completely different. You are not broken. You've already done the healing work if you are ready for this next container, which is Rise Sister Rise. And you will find the link for that wherever you're listening to this. And at the time of this recording, there is still the bundle available, and it is called Magnetic or Magical and Magnetic to Impact Millions bundle. It includes not only the membership, but it also includes Rise Sister Rise with a huge bonus savings and also the live event that's coming up on Friday the 13th and Sacral Sovereignty. So this is the first time I've announced what's in the bundle. It saves you, I think, like 15 or $1,800. And there is a payment plan at the time of this where you can literally break it up into 12 months. So if you want access to that, I only give the link out to those that take action and reach out to me on Instagram at Spiritual CEO and DM me the word magical. If you DM me the word magical, I will go ahead and get you the link to the sales page that right now has access, or right now has the link for the 12 pay option in case you need that. So I think that's it for now. Until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.